The PGA Tour doesn't wait for anyone. For days after one of the most dramatic finishes in Masters history, the world's best golfers were already being asked to show up, tee it up, and compete again. No pause, no reset, just golf. And that rapid turnaround has created one of the most fascinating storylines of 2026 season. Because while some of the biggest names in the sport chose to step away, one man decided to show up anyway and immediately reminded everyone why he is the best player in the world. This is the story of the RBC Heritage and what the week reveals about where the PGA Tour actually stands right now. Let's establish what is at stake here. The RBC Heritage is a $20 million signature event. No cut. Limited field of just 82 players. Held at the iconic Harbor Town Golf Links in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. It is the fourth signature event of the 2026 PGA Tour season. This is not a throwaway event. This is elite-level golf with elite money on the line, and it lands directly on the heels of the Masters, making it one of the most intense back-to-back stretches on the entire schedule. The emotional weight from Augusta National had barely settled, and already these players were being asked to compete again at the highest level. That scheduling pressure is real, and it is directly responsible for a number of significant withdrawals. Rory McIlroy. Start with the most obvious name. Rory McIlroy is not at Harbor Town, and he just became the first player to win back-to-back Masters titles since Tiger Woods in 2002. That is an historic achievement by any measure. And for most people, skipping the following week's tournament would seem like an obvious decision. But here is the important distinction. McIlroy's withdrawal has nothing to do with celebrating. His decision to skip the RBC Heritage was actually announced during Masters before he had even lifted the trophy. This is simply an event that McIlroy does not feel suits it. Back in 2020, after finishing T41 at Harbor Town, he was candid about it. Once I got here and I played the golf course, I sort of remembered why I haven't been here for a while, he said. It's tough. It's a lovely place. There's other courses on tour that probably fit my game a little bit better, and obviously the week after the Masters is always a tough one. Guys like to come here and decompress, but my idea of decompression is not seeing golf clubs. This is not a new pattern. In 2023, McIlroy withdrew from the RBC Heritage and was fined $3 million, taken directly from his Player Impact Program bonus, because it became his second skipped signature event that season, violating tour rules. He has only played the event once since it became an elevated event, finishing T30. The course simply does not work for him. At this point, he has made his position crystal clear. The Justin Rose withdrawal hits very differently because this one is about heartbreak, not preference. Rose had the 2026 Masters in his hands on Sunday. He surged into the lead with 3 consecutive birdies on his front 9 and looked like a man on a mission. Then came Amen Corner. Consecutive bogeys on numbers 11 and 12 unraveled everything, while McIlroy moved into a lead he would not release. Rose finished in a 4-way tie for third, 2 shots behind the champion. Yeah, another little stinger, he said after. What makes this even harder to absorb is that this was not the first time. Rose also lost in a playoff to McIlroy at Augusta National the previous. 2 consecutive Masters near misses. That kind of pain does not disappear 48 hours. Rather than head to South Carolina, Rose withdrew from the RBC Heritage and was replaced by Michael. It is worth noting that Harbor Town has not been kind to him historically either. His last top 10 finish there came all the way back in 2000, and he finished 42nd in his most recent appearance with Hideki Matsuyama. There is no drama to unpack. This is simply routine. He has played the RBC Heritage only twice in his entire career, in 2014 and 2020, and missed the cut both times. Despite posting a solid final round 69, finished T12 at the Masters, Harbor Town has never been part of his regular schedule. His next expected start is the Truist Championship, Quail Hollow in May. There is nothing surprising here, just the players sticking to the plan that works. Adam Scott is a more interesting case. He qualified for the RBC Heritage, sitting 5th in the Aon Next 10 standings after he had every right to be in the field. He simply chose not to play. When you look at his recent record at Harbor Town, T49 last year, T31 the year before, and a complete no-show in the 2024 edition, it is hard to argue with the logic. Harbor Town has not rewarded him, and he clearly knows it. Unlike the players above, Aaron Rai did not have the luxury of choosing. He simply did not qualify. He is not currently in the world's top 30. His FedEx Cup ranking does not meet the threshold. He is not inside the Aon Next 10. not in the Aeon Swing 5, has no win in the past, and received no sponsor redemption. There is no pathway in. He has played the RBC Heritage twice in recent years, including a T38 finish in 2025, but this season his ranking just is not where it needs. Then there is Tom Kim, and this one is genuinely difficult to. He has played in just one signature event this entire season, the Genesis Invitational, where he accessed the field only through a sponsor exemption and finished T30. Since then, his form has fallen sharply. He is now ranked outside the world's top 100, and without the ranking, the results, or an exemption, he has no route into this. The RBC Heritage is the latest signature event he will miss, and it reflects a broader reality. When your form drops on the PGA Tour, the doors to the biggest stages close fast. Here is what makes all of this even more striking. Look at who is sitting on the alternates list. Brooks Koepka is listed at world ranking 129, Keith Mitchell at 107, Stefan Jaeger at 99, Matty Schmidt at 89, Haodong at 70. These are not fringe players. And beyond the alternates, there are notable names who did not even make that list. Rasmus Højgaard at 58th, Max Grazerman at 65th, Rasmus Nergaard Peterson at 70th, Rico Hoey at 80th, Christian Bezuidenhout at 91st, Daniel Brown at 94th, Chris Kirk at 90th. That is a significant volume of professional golfers who cannot get into a signature event. The PGA Tour's signature event model is producing elite drama at top, but it is also drawing a very hard line that leaves genuine talent locked out week after. Even Justin Thomas, the defending RBC Heritage champion and a man with 16 PGA Tour wins, acknowledged the tension in the schedule. It's not how I would prefer to draw it up, I would say, he said. Majors are kind of what guys will generally build their schedule off. He also hinted at future changes, saying the tour would probably continue to see some in the next couple years until it gets at least something that's maybe a little more ideal for guys. Now flip the entire story on its, because while all of those names are absent, Scottie Scheffler is doing the exact opposite. Just 4 days after finishing runner-up to McIlroy at Augusta, world number 1 Scheffler walked onto the first tee at Harbour Town and immediately hit his opening drive out of it. That is not a metaphor. His very first shot of the tournament went wide right, clipped the trees, bounced off a path, and was ruled out of bounds. What happened next, though, said everything. He re-teed, found the fairway, hit his approach inside 12 feet, and rolled in the putt to save bogey. It was looking like it was going to hit those trees, and I guess it flew right through them and then hit path and went out of bounds, he told reporter. Thumbs up for the start. It was a good bogey. That response, calm, almost amused, is not accidental. It is a product of what Scheffler himself calls a religious process for tournament preparation, a system he trusts entirely, regardless of what happened the week. When it comes to on-the-course stuff, my practice going into this week is typically a bit lighter, just coming off the high of the mast, he said. Especially when you're in contention, it takes a lot out of you. There's no emotional hangover from Augusta, no frustration about finishing second. The tournament is over. This one has begun. After that opening bogey, Scheffler birdied holes 3, 5, and 6 with short putts, added 2 more birdies later in the round, finished with a 3 under 68, sitting T20, 5 shots back of first-round leader Ludwig Aber, who posted a bogey-free 8. It was not a flawless round. He ranked 68th in strokes gained off the tee, which is far below his standard. But his short game and scrambling kept him fully in contention, and that kind of grinding, imperfect round is exactly what tends to win tournaments by Sunday. Scheffler also shared his first impressions of the newly restored Harbour Town, a project spearheaded by Davis Love. His concern going in was that the redesign would modernize the course, widen fairways, remove trees, reduce the premium on shot shape. What he found was the opposite. When I got here and was looking at the yardage book to see the changes they made to the course, I had to do a double take. I'm like, did I get the right yardage book? This thing doesn't even look any different, he said. He praised the fact that Harbour Town still demands ball control, creativity, and shot shaping in both directions. Skills he described as a bit of a lost art in the way they do things modern. Away from the course, Scheffler was recently named one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people of 2026. His response to that recognition was telling. I'd much rather try to be a positive influence than a negative, he said. I dreamed of growing up and being a professional golfer and being able to achieve my dreams. I'm very fortunate to have been able to do that. But at the end of the day, that's not what satisfies me. If I could be a positive influence on someone's life, that's a great thing. That is the mindset of someone who is not playing for rankings or recognition, and it shows in how he competes. What this week ultimately exposes is a PGA Tour under genuine pressure from multiple directions. On one side, you have stars like McIlroy, Rose, Matsuyama, and and Scott making calculated decisions about when and where to compete, decisions driven by fit, form, emotional recovery, and the brutal demands of a schedule that stacks signature events directly. On the other side, players like Ryan Kim are not making choices at all. They're being excluded by a qualification system that has become increasingly unforgiving. And then there is Scheffler, who absorbs a second-place finish at Augusta, walks onto the first tee 4 days later, hits it out of bounds, and responds by nearly going bogey-free the rest of it. The contrast between absence and presence, between stepping back and stepping forward, defines this week entirely, and it raises the central question that will hang over the rest of the 2026 season. Who is managing their body, mind, and schedule well enough to peak what matters most?